Yeah. How about this? I think this game against Washington is a bigger game than Minnesota. Even though Minnesota is an NFC opponent, divisional games are always more. I don't care what the Washington Commanders look like. All right. Hey, let's look at the elite team. Hey, guys, maybe you write them down too. Elite teams in the NFL going into week 3. Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Niners, Packers. Those are your top 5? Dan, do you think it's a big game for Hurts? GT, I think any divisional game are bigger games than regular season games that are outside of the division, because this is the game that kind of puts you in a position to get to those big games in the postseason. I think this is one of the blocks that I said earlier to pave the road and make it smoother. It's a divisional game. So to answer your question without going around in circles, yeah, how about this? I think this game against Washington is a bigger game than Minnesota. Even though Minnesota is an NFC opponent, divisional games are always more. I don't care what the Washington Commanders look like. They may not be the same team Minnesota is, but I still think that this is a bigger game Sunday because this football game's a division game. You go undefeated in your division, you're winning it. You don't drop any games in the division, you're winning the division. Then that gives you, like, potentially home field. That's something else, too, okay? The Eagles are not just going to win the East any longer. You're now in the conversation to talk about being the top seed in the NFC. The reason you won the Super Bowl in 2017, playoffs went through Philly. Playoffs went through Philly. Now look, watch this. Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Niners, Packers. Watch how I have a different opinion of those other teams. Are the Bucks trending up? I don't know. I don't think the Bucks offense looks that hot. I think, you know who the best player on the Bucks offense is? I think he's Leonard Fournette. I don't really think it's Brady. I think it's Leonard Fournette. Their defense is playing lights out football. Would the Eagles, I don't believe that Jonathan Gannon could put a game plan together to stop Tom Brady. So wait a minute. Let me pump the brakes. Brady versus Gannon. Forget it. F. Gannon gets the F. He ain't beating Tom Brady. I don't think he's that sophisticated enough to beat Tom Brady. That ain't Kirk Cousins that's going to be dropping back. It's Tom Brady. Okay? Do I think Jonathan Gannon can put a game plan together to beat – watch this. Do I think they could put a game plan together, Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni, to beat the Bucs defense? No. Do I think Jonathan Gannon could put a game plan together to beat Tom Brady? Absolutely not. Would the game be closer? I do think that. I do think that. Okay? I do think that. Do I think this Eagle team can beat the Rams? I told you this last year. I wish to God that the Eagles had the Rams instead of the Bucks. Xander said this too. Anybody but Brady at home. That was a shitty matchup. It was going to end like that. We all knew it. But the Rams, they're showing you they – look at Atlanta. Atlanta ran the hell out of the ball on them. Dude, I think that's a fundamental problem that the Rams have, that if you can run the ball, and that's what keeps San Francisco all the time in that game with the Rams, and Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay, is because San Francisco can run the ball. I think the Eagles, watch this. I'm going to say this. I think that's I think that's a pick-em game. I think Stafford's hurt. You guys agree? I think Stafford's more hurt than what they're leading on. And I think I think the Rams and the Eagles are a pick-em game. Okay? Martell goes, Rams lose to us. Do you think I'm crazy when I say that? It's a pick-em game? Big Pickett says Tampa Bay's defense is the biggest obstacle for any team in the NFC. Agreed. Let's see what that looks like in a couple weeks, though. Now, remember something. Because here, Pickett, they just went out and they got Cole Beasley off the street because they're not comfortable with what they have in their wide receiving core. And by the way, the Eagles made a right call, and they were lucky. That kid, Chris Godwin, he is always hurt. That kid is always hurt, man. He's always in the tub. He's never active. I don't know. I pass on him in free agency. I never see that guy healthy. It almost seems like every year he's been in the league, he's been injured. Right? Davey, look at Davey. Davey speaking like a former player. F the Rams, I want the Bucks. Yeah, 2-1-5. I'm with you, man. Godwin, I just don't see it. I think he's always banged up. There's some stupid shit with him, right? Do I think the Eagles can beat the 49ers? You didn't a year ago, but this is a different team this year. Who's playing better ball right now, San Francisco or the Eagles? The Eagles are playing better ball. I might pick the Eagles over the 49ers here today on September 23rd. Packers. Packers got Aaron Jones. He's better than Miles Sanders. Eagles have a better O-line. Packers have a better quarterback. Eagles have a better wide receiving core with tight end to boot. Packers have a better defense. They have better corners, I think. Just gave a guy, he's the highest paid corner in the league. I think they got better pass rushers than Green Bay. Now, they were torched by Minnesota in week 1. We saw this last year, though, when Green Bay got killed by New Orleans. It didn't matter. I still think the Packers would be a problem for the Eagles because they can run it and throw it also. But there's more skilled guys. I think it depends where the game is. Philly D, burn tape sells, Patriots cheated. I don't care what you think. They didn't cheat. They won Super Bowls after the suspensions. They deflated footballs. The spy gates. Didn't matter. If it mattered so much, why did they still continue to win Super Bowls? Didn't matter. It was made up. Sorry, Philly. It's made up. Didn't matter. As a matter of fact, you can have all the game plan. Can you imagine this? You can have all the game film we want on Brady. You ain't beating him. You're not. You got the greatest coach and the greatest player in the history of the sport. You're not beating him. You're not. Case closed. I don't care what you call it. It's just another form of trying to put a nick in a person's resume. I don't care what people say. Never mattered. Deflated. I wasted about, let me say this. I wasted about 3 years of my life talking about PSI. I don't care. Okay. Look at Paul. You calling Jim Johnson a liar? I'm saying I disagree with him. Never mattered. Because if you cheat, usually, once you correct that cheating thing, you don't win 3 more Super Bowls. They went on to win 3 more Super Bowls after that. What did they do then? Oh, come up with something else. Okay? I'm sure Adam Schiff could. Hey, I've got all the evidence. I don't give a shit what you call Paul. I disagree with him 100%. You can bring up every name you wanted. Usually when people call other people cheaters and there's really no evidence to the fact that it had any impact on the game because they went on and won more. And actually, after the cheating scandal or the so-called Spygate, they went undefeated. Boy, what an impact. The next year they go undefeated. All right, let me reset. I got to get in. We're already into hour 3 here. I got to take a time out here. Please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show. Hour 3 coming.